Vol 1ch 31. Leon stood on the balcony, gazing solemnly at the distant dark clouds. "It's going to rain," he muttered. Today, Noya didn't come for tutoring. According to Rosvitha, Noya had a physical training session, so the tutoring was postponed to tomorrow. Perfect timing. It granted Leon a day of personal time. In the morning, he attempted to concoct the dragon's strength following the instructions in the medicinal book, but it ended in complete failure. Leon had anticipated this and analyzed the reasons behind it. As the book stated, the difficulty was extremely high, whether it was high temperature or physical separation. The slightest mistake could lead to complete failure. If the temperature was too high, it caused all the nutrients in the medicinal residue became inactive. It was impossible to refine enough medicinal residue if it was too low. Physical separation required specialized instruments, and Leon's attempts without them proved futile. The distant dark clouds were getting closer, and a suppressed atmosphere came with them. Leon closed the window, returned to the bedroom, and sat in front of the desk, contemplating. How can I effectively separate the final medicinal residue? He pondered. Leon sat cross-legged on the chair, absent-mindedly picking up a pen from the table and biting its tip. This was his habit when thinking, effective for increasing concentration. Biting the pen, Leon blinked. Noya seems to like biting pen tips while doing problems too. He chuckled softly, "Truly my daughter." Cracking a small joke, Leon refocused on his contemplation. In a moment of distraction, Leon recalled his old mentor's words. Many years ago, unable to master a magic type, the mentor advised, "If one path doesn't work, explore other paths, kid." Leon whispered, "If one path doesn't work, explore other paths." While contemplating, a strong light suddenly appeared outside the window, followed by a thunderous explosion. Rumbling as if trying to punch a hole through the sky. Leon tilted his head, looking at the lightning that pierced through the distant dark clouds. Lightning's thunder. Leon muttered, "Perhaps I can try using the lightning element, which was never mentioned in the book." If high temperature and rotation cannot separate the medicinal residue, Leon thought of trying a different approach with the thunder element. Coincidentally, his expertise lay in lightning magic. Without hesitation, he held a test tube in one hand and emitted a faint blue light with the other. Despite his weakened state, a small-scale lightning spell was within his capabilities. Leon, skilled in the delicate control of lightning, gained admiration for it. Lightning elemental magic was primarily used for offense, but proper control could be used for more delicate tasks. The powdered medicinal ingredients inside promptly showed a reaction. Leon's eyes lit up. It really works. He wanted to increase the infusion of magical energy, but realized his frail body could only achieve this level for now. The magic, originally intended to torment enemies, might be mistaken for mere itching if used at this intensity against an opponent. Leon sighed quietly, realizing that he could only proceed slowly. After about 40 minutes, the powdered medicinal ingredients in the test tube were distinctly separated into 2 layers. Crafting this small pill with the lowest cost and a basic alchemical setup, Leon marveled at the makeshift process. Leon held the pill between his index finger and thumb, examining it carefully. Medicine for the dragon race, it's quite simple to make. As he marveled, a knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. Leon stashed the long Dali medicine in a drawer and opened the door. It was Muin. "Dad," she exclaimed happily, raising both hands as if asking to be held. Leon bent down, scooping her into his arms. "Good morning, Muin. What brings you to Daddy?" "My sister said she's going for physical training today, and Daddy, you should have free time, so Muin came to find Daddy." Oh, no wonder Muin had been absent during the day these past few days, except for dinner. Seemed like she didn't want to disrupt Leon's teaching schedule, who said only the elder daughter was sensible. This little daughter was still her old father's little comforter. Leon carried Muin into the room, and the father and daughter chatted about interesting things that happened these past days. As they chatted, Muin sniffed. "Daddy, why is there a smell of medicine in your room?" Leon was speechless. "Wait, were the noses of your dragon kind so sensitive?" Yesterday, Rosvitha also smelled the medicine. Today, she smelled it too. "There's no medicine smell, Muin. You must have smelled it wrong," Leon said. But Muin stubbornly shook her head. "No, it's not wrong. there's definitely a smell of medicine. Nguyen jumped down from Leon's lap, followed the scent to the drawer, and pulled it open. Leon wanted to stop her, but it was too late. Nguyen took out the dragon strength that Leon had just crafted, tilted her head, and asked, "Daddy, what's this? Is it a chocolate candy?" Seeing his little dragon daughter's excitement, Leon quickly walked over and gently held her small hand. This isn't chocolate candy." "Then what is it?" Leon's brain worked quickly as he tried to come up with a reasonable explanation. After a moment of hesitation, Leon spoke seriously. "This is medicine I made for Mom." Nguyen was momentarily stunned, immediately putting aside his playful demeanor, and asked with concern, "Medicine for Mom? What happened to Mom? Is she sick?" "No, Mommy isn't sick. She's been feeling unwell lately, probably from overworking. So Daddy made this medicine for her to help her relax. I'll give it to her tonight." Nguyen nodded as if she understood. "Daddy, you must take good care of Mommy, okay?" "Yes, Daddy will." The father and daughter chatted a bit more, and then Nguyen skipped away. She mentioned that Daddy has been busy with sister's school entrance tests, so she didn't want to disturb him. This time, she only came because Daddy hadn't spent much time with Nguyen lately, and she missed him a lot. Darn it! This little dragon daughter really knew how to tug at her old father's heartstrings. She was even more heartwarming than the Black Gold War Machine. "Black Gold War Machine, I will burn your dreams, Cosmod." In the evening, after a busy day, Rasvitha arrived at the sisters' room where Nguyen and Noya were. Noya was still in the practice arena of the temple, undergoing physical training. Although it was already somewhat late, Rasvitha understood her eldest daughter's temperament. Unless she were tired to the point of being unable to get up, she wouldn't stop. In the sisters' room, only Nguyen was present. She was sitting on the carpet, playing with her large tail and looking bored. Various small toys had been tossed aside. Upon seeing her mom, Nguyen immediately stood up and approached. "Mom Tilda." Her address to Rasvitha had changed from Mother Supreme to Mom. Just as Leon said, she preferred such an affectionate address. Nguyen ran to the hem of Rasvitha's skirt, hugging her legs and looking up. "Mom, is your body feeling better?" Rasvitha blinked, puzzled, then crouched, asking, "Mom's body has always been fine. Why would you ask that?" Nguyen was shocked. "Dad said you've been working hard lately, and your health hasn't been great. He even specially prepared medicine to help you." Rasvitha raised an eyebrow. "He prepared medicine for me. What kind?" It's dark brown, like chocolate candy, very shiny." "Dark brown chocolate candy, body supplement." Rasvitha pondered these keywords, then somewhat incredulously muttered, "That guy can prepare a medicine that even alchemists can't handle in a nursery." "Mom, it's nothing." Rasvitha paused, recalling a few days ago when she mentioned, "Your body is not as strong as before." She probably guessed the reason behind Leon concocting the medicine for enhanced strength. The mischief inside the queen's belly started to stir, and she told Nguyen. "Mom is doing well, it's Dad who isn't feeling great." "Is it Dad?" "Yeah, Dad is a man, and men must support the family, so they can't admit to being sick. Therefore, let's not expose Dad but care more about him, okay?" Nguyen suddenly understood and nodded her little head. Nguyen understands. Nguyen will care more about Dad. Rasvitha smiled and pinched her daughter's chubby cheeks. "Nguyen is really good. Mom will go check on Dad now. You be a good girl and wait for your sister to return, okay?" "Okay, Mom, you must take good care of Dad." Rasvitha stood up, gently smiling. "Don't worry, Nguyen. I will definitely take good care of your dad." Vol 1ch 32. The rain intensified steadily. Leon lay at the head of the bed, one hand behind his head, the other tossing and catching a small transparent box containing long dali. Even though the medicine was prepared, he still had some reservations. That was. Leon looked at the several chili peppers on the table. Most of the dragon race's unique foods are beyond humans' physiological tolerance. Leon, since childhood, has been trained like a diamond by his master, and only after growing up did his body become so robust. Eating a few dragon peppers was just a minor matter, but this dragon race nutritional supplement, after consuming it, could the effect be too strong, to the point that Leon's body couldn't handle it, leading to some adverse effects. It might backfire, and instead of recovering, his body could worsen. Leon was tangled, he sighed, tilting his head back and gazing at the ceiling. During his inner turmoil, he heard someone pushing the door open. With closed eyes, he hid the long Dali under the pillow. Without looking, he knew who had come. "Hi, Your Majesty," Leon said lazily. Rosvitha sat at the edge of the bed and said, "You took the initiative to greet me tonight." "Yesterday was your initiative. Today it's mine, quite reasonable," Leon said. Rosvitha chuckled softly, no longer intending to beat around the bush, and said, "I heard from Muin that you made a special medicine for me, like chocolate candies, to regulate my body, but I know it's actually for yourself, right?" Upon hearing this, Leon immediately dropped his nonchalant demeanor, sat straight, and looked serious. "Don't be nervous, I'm not here to interrogate you. I'm just surprised you could concoct such a rare medicine in a simple environment. I've never seen that kind of medicine. Can you show it to me?" Rosvitha smiled, her tone sincere. She genuinely approached Leon with a discussion attitude. In fact, after learning about Long Dali, she could have used force to take it from Leon. Leon hesitated for a moment, but eventually took out Long Dali from under the pillow. Rosvitha took it, placed it in her palm, and carefully examined it. Upon seeing the real and effective Long Dali, she acknowledged Leon's talent. Naturally, Leon felt a bit pleased. As Rosvitha observed Leon reveling in his satisfaction, she chuckled inwardly. "Indeed, manipulating the mind of a little fool like you is too easy. Just a few compliments, and you're all confused, Tilda." Of course, Rosvitha's praise just now was genuinely heartfelt. Leon was momentarily stunned. "She didn't make fun of me." He rubbed his nose, a bit unaccustomed to Rosvitha's generous praise, but upon seeing the real and effective Long Dali, she acknowledged Leon's talent. However, Rosvitha changed the topic. "But you can't take this medicine, or rather, it's not suitable for you." Leon raised an eyebrow and asked, "Why?" "As a complementary medicine for the dragon race, its medicinal effects are too intense for the human body, and you won't be able to withstand them," replied Rosvitha, her tone serious. Rosvitha's tone was quite serious. "If you want to restore your body's functions as quickly as possible, I can have Anna and the others prepare a different type of nutritional supplement for you. As for this dragon vigor, the frail human body truly cannot bear the power of a dragon. There has never been a precedent for humans taking Dragon Clan medicine." She is kindly reminding Leon, although it sounds strange to remind an archenemy, with good intentions in mind kindly, Rosvitha overlooked one thing. How can Leon, as a dragon slayer, easily admit defeat in front of a dragon? "I'm not harming you, Leon. You can keep this medicine, but your human body surely won't be able to endure it." "Rosvitha," Leon interrupted. "Yes. You promised me that you wouldn't let me die, right?" Leon said. Rosvitha widened her eyes slightly. "Leon. Actually, I was still hesitating whether to take this medicine. After hearing what you said, I've decided not to dwell on it anymore." Boom! Another thunderous roar echoed outside. Leon lowered his head, and his black bangs covered his eyes, making it difficult for Rosvitha to see his expression. He stared intently at the pill in his hand and said in a low voice, "What about the power of the dragon? I've defeated countless dragon kings. A small pill is nothing I can't handle. Rosvitha, don't underestimate me. Courage is the anthem of humanity." He seemed to care more about Rosvitha's opinion of him. "Laid on you." Click. He placed the pill in his mouth. Then, without hesitation, he bit it and swallowed. The pill slid down his throat into his stomach. Silence for 2 seconds, and Leon immediately felt a burning sensation in his stomach. Plop! He clutched his stomach, half kneeling, the burning sensation instantly spreading throughout his entire body. A powerful force surged through his body, as if intending to shatter every vein and bone. He gritted his teeth, enduring the pain, not making a sound. Rosvitha hurriedly ran to his side, half crouching down, placing her hand on his shoulder. In an instant, gentle magical energy flowed from Rosvitha's palm into Leon's body, attempting to help him break down the potent effects of the pill. This was the first time the Silver Dragon Queen used healing magic, and she was doing so to assist her archenemy. Rosvitha furrowed her brow, trying to make her voice sound less shaky. Leon. She gently shook Leon's shoulder, but he kept his eyes closed, his expression contorted in pain. Since awakening, Leon has displayed self-destructive tendencies. If not for his daughters keeping him company, he might have found ways to end his life long ago. Seeing that her healing magic was ineffective, Rosvitha hastily stood up, intending to find a dragon healer to treat Leon. However, he grabbed her wrist before she could leave Leon's side. Rosvitha turned around, and Leon remained kneeling there, one hand gripping her wrist, the other covering his stomach. Watch closely, Silver Dragon Queen. This is the courage and determination of humans. Click, click. The hand covering his stomach suddenly emitted a faint blue electric light, and Leon's body trembled slightly. Rosvitha's pupils shook. Are you using lightning magic on your own body? You really are insane, Leon. Despite her words, she squatted beside Leon, supporting his shoulders and providing as much comfort as possible. At the same time, she used her magical energy to help him disperse the surging force within his body. Unconsciously, she hugged Leon tightly, feeling his pain and trembling. After a moment, Leon ceased trembling, and the electric light from the lightning magic on his body gradually dissipated. He took a brief rest and then tried clenching his fist. It's the familiar power. Seeing this scene, Rosvitha also breathed a sigh of relief. However, she didn't offer congratulations or express any joy for Leon. Rosvitha wiped the sweat off her forehead and suddenly realized their embrace might have seemed intimate. Hastily, she stood up and took a couple of steps back. Seeing that Leon was fine, Rosvitha was about to turn and leave, but as soon as she turned, she felt like someone had grabbed her tail. With a dark expression, she turned back, gritted her teeth and said, "Let go, you jerk." Leon, with a somewhat dizzy smile, had a vacant gaze, and his face was slightly flushed, as if he had consumed too much alcohol. It was as if he had fallen under some illusionary magic. In Leon's eyes at that moment, Rosvitha was no longer the noble and aloof Silver Dragon Queen. She sat beside him with a sweet and cute smile and a gentle tone like water, unmistakably portraying the image of a long-married couple. And then his next words were even more explosive. "Where are you going, my wife?" Vol 1ch 33. Rosvitha's mouth twitched slightly. Who is your wife? Let go of me quickly." Trying to retrieve her tail from Leon's hands, Rosvitha spoke, but Leon directly embraced her entire tail in his arms. Rosvitha's waist softened, but she also reached out, pulling at the base of her tail, attempting to snatch it back forcefully. However, Leon, for some unknown reason, not only held onto her tail but also rubbed his face against it. "Enough already, you jerk, give me back my tail." Seeing Leon's usual stubborn attitude, Rosvitha found it a bit unusual. What should this behavior be called? Acting drunk, being cute? Whatever, in any case, give back my tail. Rosvitha pulled on the base of her tail while raising her foot against Leon's chest, using it as a leverage point, starting a tug-of-war with Leon. "Hey, wife." The way he called wife was with proper intonation. It seemed like he was about to enlist. Rosvitha, feeling tired, stood by the bed, hands on her hips, and said, "Believe me, Dragon Slayer, if your future wife really goes back to her parents' home for 2 years, there's only one reason: you've offended your current wife. Wife, please don't be mad at me, Tilda. I won't disappoint you again in the future." Rosvitha scratched her nose. She noticed that even though Leon was currently acting a bit crazy, the way he spoke seemed oddly familiar. After some thought, Rosvitha suddenly realized. Mewan. Truly, he was the real deal. Even Rosvitha couldn't help but exclaim in her heart, but what could be the cause of his current craziness? Rosvitha rubbed her chin, furrowing her brows in contemplation. Long Dali should only have the effect of strengthening the body. After consuming it, one shouldn't experience this, unclear consciousness and even hallucinations. Leon sat on the edge of the bed, holding Rosvitha's tail as if cradling a precious object, swaying back and forth. Rosvitha watched him, then raised her hand to her chest, trying to sense the dragon pattern. No response. It seems like he's genuinely just having a fit. Rosvitha had never encountered such symptoms before and didn't know how long they would last. Since the dragon pattern showed no response and her daughters were probably asleep, she wasn't hurrying to leave. Rosvitha sighed with relief and sat down beside Leon. She let him keep holding the tail for now. She didn't plan to snatch it back immediately, but Leon was still a bit restless. Wife. Rosvitha didn't want to pay him any attention. Wife, Tilda. Go away and die. Wife, wives. Okay, I'm here, what's up, speak. Rosvitha couldn't resist a lunatic who was high on medication, but even though she complained, a deeper blush spread across Rosvitha's face. She didn't even realize it herself, but when Leon called her wife, there was a tiny bit of happiness in her heart. I want a second child, wife, Leon said seriously. You haven't properly taken care of the two from the first child, and you're already thinking about a second. Be realistic. I want a second child, I want a second child, let's have a second child tomorrow. Rosvitha silently covered her face. This sensation of adult male having a fit version of Muin was too strong. Could it be that deep down in the heart of this great dragon slayer, there was truly such an abstract side? Okay, we want a second child, not only a second, but also a third and fourth. Rosvitha began to play along. Anyway, our dragon race doesn't have family planning. Great wife, you're amazing. Moo tilde. Leon pouted and leaned in for a kiss. Rosvitha quickly raised her hand to cover his face. Don't take advantage of the situation, idiot. Moodua. In the end, he gave a kiss on Rosvitha's tail. This was the most speechless night for Rosvitha in the past 200 years. Unfortunately, this might just be the beginning of tonight. Wife, his tone suddenly changed, becoming deep and intense. What's wrong now? Thud. Leon suddenly leaned against Rosvitha's shoulder. Rosvitha shivered but didn't push him away, allowing him to lean against her. Mom and Dad miss you a lot too. He was referring to his master and mistress, right? Rosvitha turned her head, her chin inadvertently brushing against his hair. She lifted her hand, gently patting his cheek, and spoke softly. We'll go back once we've settled down. Wife. Yes, really. Wife, you're really great. And with a smooch, he gave a kiss on Rosvitha's tail. But this time, the queen didn't disdain or reject. Perhaps he wasn't the fearless empire's dragon slayer at this very moment. He was just a normal young man. Yet, fate being what it was, going back wasn't an option. So, taking advantage of his dizzy mind, she allowed him to indulge in a moment of comfort. Wife. Leon's voice interrupted Rosvitha's thoughts, and she instinctively responded. Why did she respond so naturally? As if she was really Leon's wife. Rosvitha shook her head, telling herself that she was just going along with the act of a foolish man having a fit. I feel a bit unwell. Rosvitha turned to look at him. Where does it hurt? I can't pinpoint where. Leon scratched his chest. It's like, my whole body is hot and my chest is itchy. Rosvitha's eyes flickered, and she seemed to realize something suddenly in the next second. She pulled open Leon's collar and looked at the dragon pattern on his chest. This is bad. The dragon pattern shimmered with a faint light, and the glow intensified. And the discomfort Leon mentioned earlier also began to manifest in Rosvitha. Help me, wife, I feel really uncomfortable. He moved closer, pressing his entire body against Rosvitha. He tried to hold her chin and sought a kiss. But Rosvitha, maintaining some semblance of composure, turned her head away and pushed away Leon's hand. Don't do this, Leon. But I really feel uncomfortable. Wife, can you help me, please? I know. Without warning, Leon pressed down on Rosvitha's shoulders, pinning her to the bed. Ladons, you jerk, what are you doing? Rosvitha tried to break free, but Leon was no longer in his previous state. He was full of strength. Leon took Rosvitha's tail tip into his mouth, freeing up his hands for more meaningful activities. He tore open the front of his shirt, revealing the uncontrollable dragon pattern. This time, the dragon pattern showed some changes. In addition to the faint glow, there were also sparks of electricity. Is that the element of thunder? Rosvitha slightly widened her eyes, then noticed another thing. She looked at the tail tip Leon held in his mouth and said helplessly, My tail drags on the ground all day, and you don't mind putting it in your mouths. With his tail in his mouth, Leon mumbled, Wife's tail is fragrant and clean. Well, that's not allowed, release it from your mouth. Rosvitha directly pulled her tail back from Leon's mouth. Meanwhile, the dragon pattern on his chest reacted even more intensely. She didn't know what specific effects the interplay of lightning elements in the dragon pattern's reaction would have, but the immediate sensation from her body was a stronger desire for procreation than in any previous instance. She clutched the sheets beneath her, biting her lower lip, attempting one last resistance before the reason for both was extinguished. No, Leon, don't do this. Leon just lifted his hand, placing his index finger on Rosvitha's lips. This silencing gesture alone revealed a different state from moments ago. Within that mocking and frivolous attitude, a mixture of madness and fierceness made refusal unthinkable. All right then, only for tonight. The queen relaxed her tense body ever so slightly. A blush spread across her delicate cheeks, and her consciousness gradually aligned with the delightful sensations brought by the dragon pattern. Boom! A thunderous sound fell, like the signal for battle. Inside the room there was a melodic rhythm, passionate and unrestrained. Outside, a storm raged, with the sound of thunder rolling. The torrential rain and lightning wove together, each thunderclap with a more powerful downpour. Raindrops fiercely splattered against the windows, creating crisp sounds. The howling wind rushed through the cracks, transforming into an ambiguous, sweet warmth. This was an incessant and continuous rain. It seemed that it wouldn't stop until tomorrow morning. Vol 1ch 34. Leon woke up from extreme fatigue. Warm sunlight poured in from outside the window, with no signs of last night's storm. Beneath him was a soft but disheveled large bed. Disheveled was an understatement for this bed. Disarray should be used to describe it. He raised his hand to rub his sore temple, but even such a simple movement made his arm joints creak. Immediately following was a burst of explosive pain. Leon groaned in pain, then tried to recall last night's events. He remembered that before losing consciousness, Risvitha came to him asking about Long Dali. Then that dragoness said that the human body couldn't handle the medicine of the dragon clan. Leon, in a daze, took the medicine. And then? There was no then. His memory had gaps. Rustling sounds of fabric rubbing against the skin came, and Leon turned his head towards the source of the sound. In front of the table was an elegant and demure figure. Silver hair cascaded casually behind her, and the thin straps of her nightgown dangled on her fragrant shoulders. "You're awake," the silver-haired beauty spoke softly with her back turned. Leon pursed his lips, cautiously asking, "Did you just arrive this morning, or did you never leave since last night?" "Not at all." "All right." Then Leon probably knew why the bed was in such disarray. "There's no way to leave, even if you wanted to." Risvitha turned around leisurely, propped up on one arm, lazily gazing at Leon with her legs crossed. Leon frowned. "This is your temple. Aren't you supposed to go wherever you want? Why can't you leave?" "You don't remember anything at all." She was slightly surprised, but reacted more as expected. "Remember what?" Risvitha smiled and took a plate of pastries from the table, placing it near Leon's bedside table. "Anna brought them over this morning. Have some." "What is this?" "Cream puffs. Ever tried them?" "Tried them, just didn't know that your dragon kind also eats these things." "HMPH, I don't usually eat them. These pastries might awaken some memories from last night." Leon blinked, puzzled. How could a few cream puffs trigger any memories? Was that stubborn dragoness up to something again? Thinking about this, Leon shook his head. "I'm not hungry. I also don't want to remember what happened last night." "It's not so easy to forget, Dragon Slayer." With that, Risvitha picked up a cream puff and took a bite. Thick and creamy custard oozed out, unintentionally flowing down the corner of Risvitha's mouth. She raised her hand to wipe it away gently, but it wasn't completely wiped away. The remaining custard slid along her perfect jawline, eventually dropping, drop by drop, onto the dragon tattoo on her chest. Leon stared in bewilderment at this scene. "What was this? What were you up to with this early morning act?" "HMPH. Childish." 2 seconds later. "Wait a minute." Suddenly, several images flashed in Leon's mind. They were like fragments of memories, numerous but not continuous. Risvitha with custard at the corner of her mouth and on her chest, her struggling resistance, the culmination of the human-dragon fusion amidst the increasingly fierce storm. And the exhaustion overwhelmed Risvitha, with Leon gently holding her when she wanted to stop, coaxing her to do it again and again and again. "Oh!" Leon raised his hands in despair, his 10 fingers tangled in his hair. "Ends oath hug." Before he could finish his exclamation, Risvitha stuffed the cream puff she had just bitten into his mouth. The creamy aroma still carried a hint of Risvitha's lip scent. "I didn't even scream. What are you yelling for?" Risvitha said disdainfully. Leon took a couple of bites from the cream puff, then placed it back on the plate, hastily asking, what did we do last night? We did everything we needed to. Oh, and you begged me to do it with you. After a pause, Risvitha corrected herself. No, wait, you coaxing me to do it with you. Ah, no, that's not it. She furrowed her brow, hand on her chin, contemplating the appropriate wording. After a moment, Risvitha suddenly realized, oh, tilde I should say, a mix of coaxing and deceiving. Leon blinked, puzzled. How could a few cream puffs trigger any memories? Was that stubborn dragoness up to something again? Thinking about this, Leon adjusted his mindset and said somewhat smugly, I admit I might have gone a bit overboard last night. I hope I didn't hurt you too much. Risvitha crossed her arms, looking at his arrogant expression, immediately seeing through his thoughts. It's fine, Risvitha replied casually. Oh, come on, how could it be okay with things like this? Miss Risvitha Melkvi, I sincerely apologize. I accidentally unleashed my true power. Leon pretended to look remorseful, but his attitude suddenly changed. Well, now you should be well aware of how good my body is, right? He continued to revel in his satisfaction. Risvitha narrowed her eyes, lowered her arms, and approached him. Leon dropped his smile and slightly leaned back. But Risvitha still grabbed his chin, making him lift his head and meet her gaze. I was pleased with your performance last night, Dragon Slayer. I hope you can maintain this state in the future. Leon. Wait, how did I end up in the romance last night? Vol 1ch 35. Leon realized he had reached a dead end. You're not as healthy as before, Risvitha commented. You really pleased me with your performance last night. Keep it up, she said. His defenses crumbled in front of Risvitha like paper. Once spoken, they shattered. Leon would rather engage in a 300-round battle with this dragoness on a bloody battlefield than endure her mental attacks in bed all day. Damn! There wasn't a resisting pressure class at the Dragon Slayer Academy. Risvitha patted Leon's head. All right, tidy up. We still have to give Noya some extra lessons later. Leon moved his almost lifeless arms and legs. My body feels like it's gone back to square one overnight. Let's take a day off before the extra lessons. Risvitha nodded, not forcing him. All right. So easygoing, it seemed she was truly satisfied last night. Leon sighed inwardly again. The divine potion he had painstakingly crafted, and all its effects were used. Could she not be satisfied? Even if she was made of iron, she should be satisfied. Risvitha put away her playful demeanor and silently cleaned the chaotic room. Leon tapped his fingers, hesitated momentarily, and finally said to Risvitha, do you remember the bet we made before? Letting the daughters call you Mom to see if they would be happier. Risvitha temporarily paused her household chores, turned around and said, Yeah, I remember. Have you figured out what you want to ask for? Well, I've figured it out. Can you send someone to the Empire to check on my master and master's wife? I know the dragon race sends undercover agents to human countries, and you've specifically trained individuals for such tasks, right? Risvitha's thoughts shifted slightly, and she replied, Infiltration missions are not our Silver Dragon clan's strong suit. They are typically undertaken by dragons skilled in disguise. However, if it's just to check on your master and master's wife, it shouldn't be a problem. Leon's eyes lit up. Really? Then thank you so much. Risvitha chuckled. It's rare to hear thank you from an archenemy, huh? Leon turned his eyes away and didn't say anything more. Risvitha continued her household chores in silence. Soon, the room would be cleaned up. At that moment, Leon heard the sound of the door lock. A few seconds later, two small figures entered the bedroom, one after the other. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Mom. Morning, Noya Muin. The two little ones looked towards Leon on the bed, ready to greet him, but noticed that Dad's expression didn't seem right. Muin recalled the incident with the chocolate candy from yesterday. Dad said it was medicine prepared for Mom, but Mom said actually it was because Dad wasn't feeling well, but he couldn't say it, so they had to pretend it was for her. Looking at it this way, Mom was right after all. Muin quickly ran to the bedside, her little face filled with concern. Dad, are you not feeling well? Leon looked at his little daughter in confusion. I know I'm fine, just a bit tired. I already know, Dad, don't push yourself. Leon was shocked. What do you know? Saying that, he looked at Risvitha. It couldn't be that this dragon mother told the children, right? Hey, have you lost your mind? How can you talk to a child about such things? Can't a dad have some dignity, he thought. Upon hearing this, Noya's cold expression crossed her little face with a hint of worry. However, Noya didn't show it as prominently as Muin did. She just stood quietly on the side. Dad, yesterday you said Mom was sick, but it's you, right? Muin pinched Leon's sleeve, her voice slightly teary. Muin knows, Dad, men can't admit they're sick, but your face looks even worse now. Muin is really worried about you. Don't cry, Dad is fine. Leon quickly reached out, wanting to hug Muin in his arms, but his body was too weak. Even hugging a little dragon daughter was challenging. Ultimately, Noya supported her sister's bottom from the side, allowing her to sit on Leon's lap. After helping out, Noya still stood indifferently to the side. Daddy, you're lying to me. You're sick, and you're not feeling well. Muin sniffled. Oh right, didn't you prepare a pill yesterday? Did you take it? Yes, I took it. If you took the medicine, why aren't you feeling better, Daddy? Leon raised his hand to wipe away the teardrops from Muin's eyes, smiling as he said, Daddy is really fine. If something were wrong, I couldn't lie down and chat with you like this, right? He thought making a little joke would cheer up his little daughter as it did before, but Muin still wore a worried expression on her face. No, if Daddy's time is short, Muin wants to stay with Daddy all the time. Come down, Muin, I'll play with you, and we can come back to check on him later in the evening. No, if Daddy's time is short, Muin wants to stay with Daddy all the time. What short time? Don't use idioms randomly. Come down quickly, he's doing well. I promise he'll be lively and energetic when we have dinner together tonight. Muin blinked her beautiful big eyes. Really, sister, don't lie to Muin. Yeah, I didn't lie to you. Okay then, Daddy, rest well. We'll have dinner together tonight. Leon's face was full of black lines. Who understands family, right? Vol 1ch 36. Fortunately, thanks to the master's training during childhood, Leon's overall physical condition was still quite good. Even if he felt tired and drained, rest could bring him back to normal health. Although he couldn't engage in too much strenuous physical activity, taking a stroll outside and spending time with the kids while reading was no problem. On this sunny day, Noya went for physical training, and Leon could take some time to accompany his little daughter. If Leon didn't brush up on his presence with Muin, his obedient daughter might genuinely think her old father had gone on a permanent vacation. He carried Muin and arrived at the backyard of the temple. Daddy, let's continue playing Dragon Knight. Sure. With that, Leon was about to lift Muin to let her ride on his shoulders, but halfway through the process, Muin suddenly shook her tail and said, Wait, Daddy. What's wrong? Mom said your body hasn't fully recovered, so Muin can't play Dragon Knight with Daddy. It might affect Daddy's recovery. Leon was momentarily surprised. His little dragon daughter was still so considerate. He smiled. It's okay, Muin isn't that heavy. But that's not allowed. Muin stubbornly insisted, kicking her legs, indicating Leon should put her down. He couldn't resist his daughter's insistence, so he had to follow her request. After putting Muin down, Leon squatted in front of her, patiently asking, So, what game do you want to play? Muin pouted, thought for a while, but couldn't come up with any fun game that didn't require much physical effort. Seeing Muin struggling to come up with an idea, Leon suggested. Since Muin can't think of a good game, how about Daddy making you a toy? The little dragon's daughter's eyes lit up. Toy. Memo. What kind of toy? You'll know when it's done. Come on, let's go to the storage room and find some materials. Okay. Father and daughter returned to the garden, finding a clear spot to sit on the ground. Leon arranged the collected parts on the ground. After collecting everything, Leon weighed the materials and checked the quantity of the parts. After some thought, he grabbed a few more parts. Finally, he grabbed some paints of different colors, ensuring everything was ready. All set, let's go. Memo. Leon took Muin to the storage room in the temple, gathering some parts and tools. After collecting everything, Leon examined the object in his hands. It was a black cube, with each face divided into 9 small squares. No one final step remaining. Leon systematically assembled the various parts. Some parts could be directly attached, while others required cutting, polishing, or more intricate and detailed secondary operations. He worked with great seriousness. Muin on the side was watching attentively. She already thought Daddy was very handsome. But for some reason, when Daddy got his hands busy with these intricate parts, gears fitting seamlessly in his hands, various linkage devices effortlessly manipulated, his appearance of scrutiny made him look even more handsome. Muin didn't quite grasp concepts like aura or charm. She just felt that compared to other male dragons, her old dad was way more handsome. Almost there. Leon examined the object in his hands. It was a black cube, with each face divided into 9 small squares. Muin can do it. Of course, come on, give it a try. Thank you, Daddy. Leon had Muin sit on his lap, then gently held her wrist from behind, guiding her in coloring the cube. Although some areas were not perfectly colored, Leon didn't say anything and patiently helped Muin touch up those spots. In the end, with the collaboration of father and daughter, a cube with 6 colors was successfully made. Muin held it in her hands, not quite sure what this thing was, but anything made by Daddy must be cool. This little toy is called a Rubik's Cube. You can twist it freely. Give it a try. Oh, okay. Muin tried turning it a few times, and indeed, the differently colored small cubes shifted and ended up in different positions. The Rubik's Cube game is to restore all 6 colors to their original positions. It might be a bit challenging at first, but as you play you'll find some tricks, Leon explained patiently. Leon enjoyed studying these types of toys when he was in school. He remembered the first alchemical mechanics class when the teacher assigned them to create a simple mechanical linkage device as homework. What Leon submitted was a simplified version of the Rubik's Cube. The teacher was quite satisfied with it and teased Leon, saying that even if he didn't go on to slay dragons after graduation, he could open a toy store to amuse children. He would surely excel at that too. It turned out the alchemical mechanics class teacher's words were prophetic. Leon was indeed now taking care of a child. And what's more, he was doing it quite well. Muin listened to Leon's explanations while studying the Rubik's Cube in her hands. Leon patiently explained tips and formulas to her. As he spoke, Leon suddenly raised his head, looking around vigilantly. Dragon slayers were very sensitive to gaze, especially the gaze of a dragon. Leon thought it might be Risvitha peeking at them from the balcony, but there was no sign of the mother dragon on the balcony. Leon discreetly observed his surroundings. Clearly, the eyes secretly watching them were coming from behind. Leon didn't turn around, but carefully recalled the layout of the Silver Dragon Temple. Now their position's rear seemed to be a training ground. Thinking of this, Leon smiled knowingly. That child certainly wouldn't actively join him and Muin. Leon stood up, took Neuer's hand, and left the garden. After walking a certain distance, Leon sneakily half-turned to look back. He saw a tiny figure emerging from the bushes behind the garden. Leon smiled and turned his gaze away. Neuer quietly approached the spot where Leon and Muin had been sitting. An unpainted Rubik's Cube and several cans of paint were on the bench nearby. Neuer walked up, picked up the brush and paint, imitating what Leon had done, and started coloring the Rubik's Cube. Soon, a not-so-pretty but playable Rubik's Cube was successfully completed. She tried twisting it several times, feeling the distinct mechanical clicks under her fingertips. Neuer was slightly surprised. Seems quite interesting. Then, following the method she had eavesdropped on earlier, Neuer scrambled each side of the Rubik's Cube and began solving it step by step. Her understanding and learning abilities were quick. In less than 10 minutes, she had solved most of it. Just as Neuer was about to continue solving, she heard someone shout from a distance. "Princess Neuer, rest time is over. We should continue with physical training." Neuer hastily put the Rubik's Cube into her pocket, ran towards the training ground, and responded, "Oh, I'm coming." In the evening, in the sisters' room, Muin knelt on the bed, still playing with the Rubik's Cube her dad had made for her during the day. She had been studying it but couldn't successfully solve it. After a few unsuccessful attempts, Muin threw the Rubik's Cube aside and, dissatisfied, gave it a flick with her tail. "I don't want to play anymore. Muin is so dumb, can't even solve one side." Neuer, who was preparing for tomorrow's lessons on the side, saw her sister getting frustrated and put down her textbooks. She went over and said, "I'll teach you." Sister, can you do it too?" Neuer didn't respond. Instead, she picked up the Rubik's Cube and explained the principles to her sister. To solve it, you shouldn't try to solve one side at a time, but rather layer by layer, like this. Watching Neuer's skilled movements, Muen was a bit dumbfounded. Sister, how are you so good at this? Oh no, not really, just okay. How could I have zero interest in toys for kids. There, you learned it right, take it back. Muen took the fully solved Rubik's Cube, happily hugged it, and crawled under the covers. Before long, the rhythmic sound of Muen's breathing could be heard. Muen, Neuer called out to her sister. Seeing no response, Neuer quietly got out of bed. Then, she took out her small wooden box from under the bed and opened it. Inside was a piece of black metal fragment and a piece of paper with her name written. She removed her little Rubik's Cube from her pocket and carefully placed it in the wooden box. Vol 1ch 37. The day of Neuer's entrance exam was approaching. Apart from the entrance exam, they also needed to prepare some other things in advance. For instance, a family photo. Sent. High's Academy was a prestigious institution among dragon clans, with strict admission standards. While most dragon families consist of single dragons reproducing asexually, there were cases like Risvitha's involving normal reproduction. Whether it was a single or two-parent family, family introduction was a crucial part of the assessment criteria. Only a harmonious and loving family that adhered to dragon ideals could nurture qualified dragon offspring. The Dragonling department of St. High's Academy only admitted students from such families. Unfortunately, Leon's family had nothing to do with the words harmonious and loving. Not related, even if it's unrelated, you must pretend it is, Risvitha said. Risvitha continued, Neuer values this entrance test a lot, and you've both worked hard for a month, so no matter what, we must pass this test. Leon scratched his head. So, are we going to take a family photo? Of course, I booked a photo studio with a message dragon a few days ago. Get ready, we'll go there later, Risvitha replied. After a pause, she added, by the way, let's also take a family portrait. Leon frowned. Family portrait. He recalled that not long ago, when Risvitha's sister, Queen Isabella the Red Dragon, came to visit, Muen mentioned that she had long wanted to take a family portrait. Since his daughter had such a wish, and it was on the way, Leon naturally wouldn't refuse. He lifted the blanket and got out of bed to get dressed. Wait, there's one more thing, Risvitha said. What? I want to attach a tail to you. What, attach a tail? Yes, Risvitha nodded. You can use the excuse, don't like to show my tail at home to fool others, but outside, a male dragon without a tail is very strange. Leon drooped his face and asked expressionlessly, without a tail, would other dragons beat me up? Risvitha shook her head. Then what am I afraid of? If it's strange, let it be strange. All right, if you don't want to, then don't. But remember, don't act stubborn like this when we're outside, okay? Yeah. I'll go get Neuer and Muen. You go wait for us in the front courtyard of the temple. Leon nodded silently, hands tucked in his jacket pockets, and walked out of the room. As the footsteps gradually faded away, Risvitha sighed helplessly. The whole family is stubborn. There's really no way. Muttering to herself, she quickly went to the sisters' room. Because she had already briefed her daughters last night, when Risvitha arrived at their room, the two little ones were already dressed and ready. Risvitha led them downstairs. Muen, calling for Daddy, took small steps and ran towards Leon. He also crouched down with a smile, securely picking up Muen in his arms. Where are we going to take the photos? Leon asked. Sky City, a city exclusively belonging to the dragon race. Leon nodded thoughtfully. He had seen records about Sky City in the historical documents of humans. Legend had it that it was far from the worldly clamor, a realm entirely belonging to dragons. For millions of years, countless heroes had tried to enter the dragon's Sky City to explore, but without exception, all failed. So many years ago, humans and various other races had stopped exploring Sky City. Honestly, Leon couldn't help but feel a bit excited, because he might very well become the first human in history to enter Sky City. Moms, how do we get there? This was also the first time the daughters had left the Silver Dragon Holy Temple, so Sky City was unfamiliar to them. Sky City, of course, we fly up there, said Risvitha. Risvitha spread the dragon wings behind her as the words fell, enveloping her whole body. After a brief pause, a majestic silver dragon appeared before everyone when the dragon wings opened again. Wow, Mom looks so cool. Muen also wants to become a dragon. Noya tugged at her sister's tail. Wait until you can grow wings before saying that. HMPH, Muen will become a dragon sooner or later. Muen turned her gaze to her old father again, then asked with an expectant look, Daddy, why don't you transform? Dad, transform quickly tilde Dad. Transform quickly tilde Muen wants to see what Dad looks like as a dragon. The little dragon girl clapped her hands excitedly. Even Noya was standing there with eager anticipation, and Leon felt like he wanted to die. Good daughter, your dragon-slaying dad is quite capable, but as for transforming into a dragon, let's not talk about it, okay? Leon swallowed hard, chuckled, responded to Muen, and then cast a pleading look at Rosvitha. Can you look over here? Help, come on, help. Seeing that Leon hadn't made any moves, Noya squinted her eyes and said with a hint of sarcasm, You wouldn't be unable to transform, right? Well, you see. Dad's body hasn't fully recovered yet, so he can't transform into a dragon for now. Rosvitha finally extended a helping hand. When Dad's body is fully healed, he'll transform for you to see. Okay, tilde Dad, you must get better quickly. Dad, do your best. All right, let's chat later, come up for now. Rosvitha gently bit Noya's tail with her mouth, placing her on her back. Then, she took Muen from Leon's arms and placed her next to Noya. Finally, she looked at Leon, you come up too. Tusk going up the dragon, isn't it simple? But Rosvitha seemed to deliberately make it difficult for him, not lowering herself enough to give him sufficient height to climb. Leon scratched his cheek and could only take a step back for now. Rosvitha, could you lower yourself a bit? I can't get up. What's the matter? Come up and accompany our daughters. But if they continued like this, the daughters would get impatient. Leon sat cross-legged, and Muen crawled over, skillfully settling on his lap with her tail by her side and her back against Leon's chest. Leon patted Muen's little head, and then looked at Noya. The ice-gold little dragoness was also looking at him, contemplating something important. Vol 1ch 38. The city lived up to its name. The Dragon Clan's Sky City was located on the distant horizon of the clouds, and only creatures with powerful flying abilities could reach it. After several hours of flying, Leon's family finally arrived at the outskirts of Sky City. Due to the massive size of the dragons, the space outside the city was vast enough for many dragons to land simultaneously. Rosvitha chose a relatively open space to land. Leon jumped down with his daughters in his arms, and Rosvitha retracted her wings, transforming into human form. All right, let's go inside. The family of four headed to the photography studio. Upon entering the photography studio, various styles of artistic photos adorned one wall. The photographer was a middle-aged woman wearing glasses. No, she should be called a middle-aged dragoness. With a gentle appearance, simple attire, and a smiling face, she walked up and shook hands with Rosvitha. It's an honor for the shop to photograph the family portrait of the Silver Dragon Queen. Oh, don't be modest. Everyone says that Professor Selena's photography skills are top-notch among dragons. Being able to book you successfully is also our family's luck. Your Majesty, you're too kind. Come, let's try the clothes first. Leon, carrying Muen, followed closely behind. As they followed Selena to the fitting room, Leon leaned in and whispered to Rosvitha, You're already the Dragon Queen. Can't you order her to provide door-to-door service? Dragon Kings can only command their kind from the same group. The dragons of the Sky City don't belong to any specific group. Your queen's status seems a bit low, Leon teased. Rosvitha glared at him. Well, it's higher than yours anyway. The four of them followed Selena into the fitting room. Selena picked out a suit and was about to introduce it to Leon when she noticed, Your Majesty, your husband's tail. Oh, my husband doesn't like to expose his tail. Could you please pick a suit without a tail for him? Of course, Your Majesty. She prepared a regular tailless suit for Leon, and he obediently put it on. Wow, Daddy looks so handsome in a suit. Standing at around 1.8 meters, Leon had a typical inverted triangle body shape. He looked slim in clothes, but had a muscular build when undressed. He had only worn a suit once in his over 20 years, and that was at the Dragon Slayer Academy graduation ceremony. He personally didn't think there was anything particularly handsome about it, but on that day, junior sisters lined up to ask him out for a meal after the ceremony. And Leon at that time earnestly replied, I still need to go back and help my master with the donkey's hooves. Next time for sure. After hearing this, the master, embracing the old donkey at home, smoked all night and still couldn't understand what the boy was thinking. He snapped back to reality. Leon looked at himself in the mirror. Indeed, he looked much more mature and steady than in previous years. Muin excitedly wagged her little tail, looking at her handsome old man, praising him incessantly. Leon rubbed Muin's head, then turned to his, not good with words, eldest daughter. Noya hesitated, avoided eye contact, and mumbled, yeah, quite handsome. A suit was the best cosmetic surgery for men, enhancing their temperament and showcasing their physique. Since the eldest daughter said it looked handsome, it must be quite handsome. Leon looked proudly at Rosvitha. The queen carefully examined him, nodded finally, and gave her evaluation. It does feel a bit strange without the tail. Mother of dragons, I'll never wear a tail my entire life. After picking out clothes for Leon, Selena also selected a formal gown for Rosvitha. The gown had an off-the-shoulder style, predominantly black, with dark red accents at the waist and skirt, adding a touch of mystery and elegance to the solemnity. However, due to the off-the-shoulder style, the neckline was a bit low, revealing a small pattern of dragon scales. Rosvitha shyly covered her chest. Professor Selena, please choose one with a slightly higher neckline. Of course, Your Majesty, Selena smiled as if to say, young people nowadays are really picky. Leon shrugged and didn't say anything further. In the end, Selena chose another well-fitting gown for Rosvitha, and the two daughters naturally won't be left behind. Choosing their clothes was easy. One satisfied, the other surely pleased. After more than half an hour of preparation, the family of four was finally ready for the photo shoot. The first set was a family portrait. Leon held Muin, while Rosvitha held Noya, the two standing side by side. In the camera's viewfinder, the poses and positions were standard. However, it didn't quite look like a typical family portrait. Selena put down the camera and politely asked, Your Majesty, could you and your husband please strike a loving pose? The unfortunate couple looked at each other, both feeling awkward. Rosvitha, affectionate. Leon, posture. Selena smiled, yes, it must be super affectionate. The two looked at each other, then simultaneously turned their heads. Rosvitha cleared her throat twice. Selena, do you have any recommended poses? Selena thought for a moment and replied. Generally speaking, the two spouses should be affectionate, but it shouldn't be vulgar. So try hugging, touching noses, and having deep, affectionate eye contact. Come on, Selena, spare us from the teasing, Rosvitha said. Seeing the two feeling a bit embarrassed, Selena was also puzzled. You've already got dragon patterns. What's wrong with getting closer for a photo? I don't understand you, young people, Selena said. Well, since none of those seem suitable, how about you two compare hearts with your tails? Tails comparing hearts. Yeah, that's right, it's very cute and playful. Rosvitha glanced at Leon. It was too late to give this guy a tail now. But after thinking about it, it seemed like comparing hearts was the only gesture they could accept. Hiss, what should they do? Can I use my hand, Selena? Leon said, my wife uses her tail, and I use my hand. We should be able to compare hearts, right? Selena raised an eyebrow and praised, good idea, it's a pose we've never tried. Come on, you two, get ready and let's take the photo like this. Vol 1ch 39. Leon's suggestion was quite a compromise. It allowed them to present a harmonious family image in front of others without compromising their preferences by putting on an awkward display. Rosvitha felt speechless about it, but there wasn't a better solution given the current situation. She slowly lifted her tail, bending the tip into a half-heart shape, bringing it to the middle of the two. Leon also extended his hand, fingers slightly bent, forming half of a heart shape with his thumb. The hand gestures and the tail pose were well done, but both hesitated, seeming shy about making physical contact with each other. Well, come to think of it, that was quite normal. Both of them had no experience in love. Putting aside all the unnecessary details, they just accidentally held hands once. It was very pure Tilda. Your Majesty, are you not feeling well yet? Selena urged. I'm fine, I'll be okay soon. Rosvitha responded and glared at Leon, lowering her voice. Be serious, don't mess around. I didn't mess around, it's your tail that's not behaving. My tail is agile unlike you, always so timid. Leon was immediately displeased upon hearing this. He then used his other hand to pinch Rosvitha's tail and aimed at his hand, making a heart shape. Only then did they manage to get this pose right. Rosvitha secretly twisted Leon's thigh from below and said through gritted teeth, Don't touch my tail. Good, Tilda, this is the pose. Don't move, Tilda. Selena raised her camera, aimed at the group of four. Smile, the couple smile, that's right, Tilda, little princesses. You can also pose in your favorite. Well done, Tilda. Click, click. The white light flashed continuously for a few moments. Selena took many photos, preparing to choose the most suitable one later. All right, thank you all for your cooperation. Now, we will take Princess Noya's school enrollment photos. Muin, being sensible, jumped off the seat when he heard they were taking his sister's school photos. She ran to the side and patiently waited. Selena also made Noya change into a more formal dragon-themed dress. Family portraits could be warm, but school enrollment photos should be more serious. After changing into the new clothes, Noya stood between Leon and Rosvitha, ready for the photo. His academy had strict assessment standards for families, so besides the enrolled student, the student's parents needed to be in the enrollment photo. The unfortunate couple and the icy bird dragon all stood up straight, not daring to breathe too heavily. 3 pairs of eyes stared straight at the camera, their faces devoid of expression. Selena looked at the 3 faces in the lens and felt something was off. Serious indeed, but it seems too serious. It didn't look like a school enrollment photo. If their faces were individually cropped and converted to black and white, they could be hung directly at a funeral 100 years later. 3 of you, seriousness is fine, but try to relax. Otherwise it looks too unnatural, Selena suggested. Rosvitha breathed a sigh of relief and turned her head to look at Muin beside her, wanting to call her little daughter to leave together. But when she looked at Muin, the little dragon girl sat obediently there, looking at this side with envy. Rosvitha's heart trembled. Just as she was about to speak and ask Muin to join the photo, she heard Leon and said, Muin, do you want to take a photo with Mom and Dad too? Muin's eyes lit up, yes. Rosvitha glanced at Leon, wanting to say something, but in the end she chose to look away. Muin stood between the couple. This time it wasn't a family portrait or a school enrollment photo, so all 3 of them looked very relaxed. Leon directly lifted Muin, who actively extended a little tail, imitating her mother's earlier gesture, wanting to make a heart sign with Leon. Naturally, Leon didn't refuse. Following that, Noya also came over and took several heartwarming photos. Without any formalities, they posed freely. Sister, do you want to make a heart sign with Dad? It's so much fun, Tilda. Noya hesitated for a moment, then shook her head and refused. No. But sister, you're really something. Then, I'll make a heart sign with Sister Tilda. Noya agreed at last, okay. The 2 little dragon girls also took many individual photos. Selena's subsequent work became much easier. Leon and Rosvitha sat down on the side, not chatting, just silently watching their daughters taking pictures. Rosvitha shared Leon's sentiment. She sat with her legs crossed, one hand supporting her chin, silently wearing a faintly content smile as she watched her 2 daughters. So a rather peculiar scene unfolded during the photo session. It was lively and cheerful on the side where the photos were being taken. The 2 dragon daughters posed in various ways, and Selena also enjoyed the photo session. On the resting side, the sweet couple who had just made heart signs with their tails and hands didn't exchange words. It didn't look like they came to take photos. They were at the Civil Affairs Bureau filing for divorce. Seemingly aware that such an atmosphere wasn't conducive to family harmony, Rosvitha gazed ahead and said in a casual tone, Why don't you bring up a topic to pass the time? Noya and the others are taking photos for quite a while. What topic do we have to discuss? Otherwise, let's just go outside and have a fight. Once it's over, they'll finish taking photos. Anyway, every time they engaged in small talk, within 3 sentences, they would start bickering. After bickering for about half an hour, Noya and Muin had taken enough photos. So, with this many photos, I might only be able to develop them by tonight. Would you prefer to stay longer in Sky City and pick them up, or would you rather come back tomorrow? We'll come in the evening to pick them up. Thank you for your hard work, Selina. No problem. I wish His Majesty, the Prince, and the two little princesses a joyful time in Sky City. After expressing their gratitude, the family of four left the photography studio. Selina watched their receding figures until they disappeared around the corner of the street before turning her gaze away. She lowered her head, looking at a photo just taken with the camera. It wasn't a family portrait or a photo of the two little dragon sisters. But it was. Though their bodies leaned in different directions, their gazes were intertwined in the embrace of the silver-haired beauty and the young man. The bright sunlight streamed through the window of the photography studio, generously casting its light on their shoulders. Specks of dust danced like elves in the radiance, lingering around the two. Their eyes met, the gaze tender and eloquent. It wasn't as romantic or ambiguous nor held excessive tenderness. However, in their eyes, that beautiful and innocent affection seemed like water in a cup on the verge of overflowing. Indeed, they do look like a couple, Selina commented. Vol 1ch, 40. After leaving Selina's photography studio, the family of four went to find a quiet small restaurant. As soon as they entered, large lizards with various styles of tails walked around Leon. He stood at the doorway, stunned, looking at the room full of Dragon Clan customers. Leon's legs couldn't help but tremble again. First-class honors, so many first-class honors, Leon muttered in a daze. Risvitha gave him a disdainful look. What's so exciting? Don't forget, you're the extraordinary person who had two little first-class honors with a first-class honor. No, your level is not just first-class honors. What is it then? First-class honors, where the king personally crowns and honors me. Risvitha chuckled and ignored the guy. They sat at a window table and ordered a few simple dishes. The restaurant was quiet, and everyone was talking in low voices. Leon and Risvitha also tacitly avoided striking up a conversation with each other. The two little ones were especially well behaved, and began eating quietly once the dishes were served. After lunch, it would be about 4 to 5 hours before their photos were ready. Fortunately, the Sky City had plenty of entertainment options to pass the time. Of course, the main focus was on making the daughters happy. Leon and Risvitha were indifferent to where they went. Although they couldn't get along in their daily interactions, they couldn't expect a pair of archenemies to greet each other with smiles every day. But this seemingly mismatched couple surprisingly had a deep understanding when caring for the kids. They strolled and arrived at a young dragon amusement park. The two little dragon girls ran together, while Leon and Risvitha followed not far behind, maintaining a certain distance. In the young dragon amusement park, there were many parents with children. However, most were individuals taking care of their kids. Couples like Leon and Risvitha were few and far between. It seemed that the Dragon Clan was indeed enthusiastic about asexual reproduction. Selina explained, yes, but only in the Sky City. It's a very inclusive city, often extracting interesting things or cultures from the societies of other races. As for the various dragon clans outside, most are proud and disdainful of learning or accepting things from other races. Oh, I see. Leon raised his arm, hands behind his head, paused and casually said, I feel like you're quite receptive to advice. Risvitha glanced at him. Why? Do you remember the last time I suggested that you have your daughters call you Mom instead of Mother? Did you talk to them about it that same night? Risvitha didn't avoid the topic and admitted it openly. Yeah, I must admit, your humans have more refined parenting ideas than the Dragon Clan. Exactly, if you were left to handle the kids alone, the consequences might be unimaginable, Leon chuckled smugly. Bang, bangs, bang. 3 gunshots echoed from the balloon-popping booths. Leon and Risvitha exchanged glances and headed towards the booth without saying a word. While they walked over, Noya raised the gun again and fired 2 shots in succession. Leon just noticed that the Dragon Clan's toy guns shot bullets formed by concentrated magical energy. No wonder Muin didn't join in. Compared to her sister's advanced development, she wasn't yet at the age to use magic. However, Noya missed again with these shots. Snap! Somewhat displeased, she put the gun back on the table, biting her lip, with eyes full of reluctance. Mom Muin, let's play somewhere else. Noya adjusted her mood but still looked slightly sulky. Although most of the time she was mature and sensible, there was still a bit of childishness in her. When she encountered something that really bothered her, her emotions were clearly visible on her face. Leon didn't encourage her to try again or anything like that. It was evident that the booth owner had tampered with the toy gun. Otherwise, with Neuer's skill, she wouldn't have missed a shot. Leon figured out this kind of business secret as a child. He didn't expect that they could still make loads of money from kids in the Dragon City in the sky. He walked forward and lifted Neuer from the chair. The family of 4 was about to leave. However, the booth owner seemed to notice that this family was well dressed, like a wealthy family, and he wanted to continue squeezing some profits from them. Didn't expect that not a single toy reward was taken today. These parents don't know what their kids want. The owner wiped the toy gun while implying something in his words. Leon suddenly stopped, looked down at Neuer and asked, "Do you want those teddy bears?" Neuer bit her lip, hesitated for a moment, and then shook her head. "No, I don't want them." The owner's words hinted at something more. There might be other options. Leon looked at Muen. "Muen, do you want them?" Muen also doesn't want them. All right, that meant she wanted them. Leon took Muen's hand, turned, and walked towards the booths. Neuer was momentarily surprised, then she looked up at Rosvitha. Rosvitha smiled and nodded at her. With her mom's approval, Neuer ran over. "Let's go for 10 more rounds, boss." Leon returned to the booth. 10 rounds, isn't 10 a bit too few, sir? This game looks simple, but it's challenging. Your daughter didn't hit a single target just now, the owner coaxingly said, obviously trying to get Leon to spend more coins. But Leon repeated calmly, "Just 10 rounds. All right, 10 rounds it is." The owner handed over the same toy gun as before. Neuer took a few coins from her pocket and gave them to the owner. "Thank you," Leon said. "Yes," Neuer nodded. Leon lifted the toy gun, and magical energy flowed from his fingertips into the magazine of the toy gun. In addition to aiming, the Dragon Clan's version of balloon popping also required precise manipulation of magical energy. The first shot. The bullet went off track. All right, it's okay, keep going." Muen tugged at Leon's clothes and said, looking up, "Daddy, maybe we don't have to keep playing. Muen doesn't need that teddy bear, it's okay." Even though the family wasn't short of money for a few rounds of shooting, they could afford to buy the teddy bear at a high price. But the misfortune for the owner was that this family was quite stubborn, especially the one holding the gun right now. Leon patted Muen's little head. "It's okay, Daddy can do it." "Yes, sir, you can definitely do it. How about adding more money and shooting a few more?" The owner's joy was premature. Leon missed the first shot because he was testing how much the gun had been tampered with. Now that Leon had tested it, he could recalibrate the gun. He then fired a few shots in a row. After using up all 10 shooting chances, Leon hit the target 9 times in total. The prize was 2 large-sized teddy bears. "Thank you, boss. See, I told you 10 times was enough." Leon handed over the 2 teddy bears to his 2 daughters. The owner was speechless, on the verge of tears. Where did this skilled person come from? Even with a misaligned sight, they could still hit accurately. "Get out of my booths, quickly." Leon turned around, satisfied, and looked up at Rosvitha. The mother dragon was empty-handed, while the 2 daughters returned with a full load. "Thought about it." Leon turned back. "Boss, 10 more rounds." Vol 1ch, 41. Leon raised the gun and fired. Each bullet hit the balloons, but it felt more like they were hitting the owner's heart. After running the booth for so long, tampering with the gun in various ways, the owner had never seen someone so accurate. The owner glared at Leon, watching it happen and harboring resentment. However, another person present had a completely opposite attitude from the owner. In her eyes, the man in front of her was focused and serious. Although a bit stubborn, it didn't have a significant impact. With each pull of the trigger, a balloon burst, and he would reveal a confident and triumphant smile. "Daddy is so cool, so handsome," Muen cheered on the side, praising her dad. Neuer also looked at Leon with a face full of anticipation and admiration as he focused on shooting. They all shared this feeling, from little Muen and Neuer to the bigger Rosvitha, and when Rosvitha snapped out of it, a large teddy bear had already been stuffed into her arms. It was soft, warm, and furry. Although in a dragon's impression, bears were considered inedible even when starving, turning them into toy pillows, they seemed cute. He could tell by the daughter's reactions. This was a parenting philosophy that Rosvitha couldn't grasp in the short term. There was nothing wrong with it. She fully supported Leon doing this for the sake of their daughters. Rosvitha lowered her eyelids, holding a giant teddy bear in her arms, and gently rested her chin on its head. When Leon handed it to her just now, she said she didn't want it. Leon suggested throwing it away since they had spent the money. Rosvitha objected, saying that wasn't acceptable. And so, as a family of 4, the mother and her 2 daughters each held a giant teddy bear, attracting the attention of passing dragons. The man with empty hands and an empty tail would naturally catch the attention of passers-by. Everyone could see that this bountiful harvest came from the hands of the male dragon, who preferred to keep his tail hidden. Of course, the onlookers' gazes would eventually focus on the teddy bears. Feeling the gaze of the surrounding dragons, Rosvitha couldn't help burying her face in the soft head of the teddy bear. "Be careful not to suffocate from holding your breath," Leon unexpectedly quipped. "Is it so difficult to hear something nice from your mouth? Why should I say nice things to you? This teddy bear has said 100 nice things to me. Suppose I talk to you 20 times a day, and one of those times is nice, then I can go without saying something nice to you for over 3 months. I see you've recovered well, even your mouth is handy now, right?" Leon raised his hand in surrender, then made a zip-it-up motion near his mouth, indicating he would keep quiet. They had a great time playing in the young dragon's amusement park for the afternoon. A few dragons recognized Rosvitha's identity as the Silver Dragon Queen, probably from other groups of nobles or leaders. Rosvitha engaged in polite conversation with them out of courtesy. They returned to Selina's photography studio as evening approached to collect the morning's photos. The family portrait was larger, while the school enrollment photos and various sister portraits were smaller. Selina had packaged them separately. On the journey back, the father and daughters sat on the back of Rosvitha in her massive dragon form. Muin was eager to unwrap the family portrait, but Leon stopped her. "Let's open it at home, Muin." "Okay, listening to Dad." After a few hours of flight, they returned to the Silver Dragon Temple around 10 o'clock in the evening. Head maid Anna had prepared a late-night snack for them. After a simple meal, the 4 of them went to the nursery where Leon usually slept, ready to unwrap the packaged photos. The first to be unwrapped was the family portrait, revealing a delicate depiction of the 4 of them, tails forming a heart shape, joyfully posed together. Indeed, it met Rosvitha's standard for this family harmony. In addition to the original-sized family portrait, Selina included 4 smaller versions, convenient for placing on bedside tables or desks. Rosvitha took out Noya's family photo for enrollment, handed it to her eldest daughter, and instructed, "Take good care of it, Noya." "Yes, Mom. And this is a photo of Muin with Mom and Dad. Muin, take care of it yourself." Rosvitha handed another photo to Muin. Muin took it with both hands. "I know, Mom." "Well, the rest are sister photos of you two. Take them back to your room and slowly unpack." "Okay." Just as the 2 were about to leave, Noya suddenly stopped. She pointed to a separately wrapped package and asked, "What photos are inside this package?" Leon saw it too, held it in his hands, and weighed it. "It seems there's only 1 photo inside." "Dad, let's open it and see," Muin suggested. "Okay." Leon opened the separate package, and the first thing that slid out was a light golden card. Rosvitha took the card, and on it was written in elegant handwriting, "May the silver radiance forever shine in the eyes of the loved ones." Rosvitha frowned slightly. What does this mean? At that moment, Leon also took out the photo inside. After looking at it, Leon fell silent. Muin, standing beside, pressed against Leon's arm and tiptoed to see. But when she saw the photo, her reaction was completely different from Leon's. Little dragon maiden happily wagged her tail, and the fluff on her head swayed along. "Mom and Dad are so well matched." Rosvitha raised an eyebrow. "Well matched? What's in the photo, Leon?" Leon pursed his lips and handed over the photo. Rosvitha took the photo. In the photo, there were no carefully arranged background lights or expensive, luxurious evening gowns or suits. It was just her and Leon casually sitting in chairs, smiling at each other. Clearly, this was a moment captured by Selina. And in that brief moment, the look exchanged between her and Leon had none of the enmity between archenemies or petty quarrels and annoyances. At that moment in their eyes, there seemed to be only room for each other. Suddenly, Rosvitha also understood the meaning of the phrase on the card, "May the silver radiance forever shine in the eyes of the loved ones." Before the couple could react to when this photo was taken, Muan, excitedly wagging her tail, said from the side, "Mom and Dad, come to think of it, it seems you don't have wedding photos." Leon looked up at Rosvitha and found she was also looking at him. The two looked at each other, a moment of silence passing between them. Leon, wedding what photos? Muan, wedding gown photos. Rosvitha, what gown photos? Muan, wedding gown photos. Leon and Rosvitha, what wedding gown? Muan, wedding gown photos are. Wedding photos. Taking them was impossible, it would never happen in this lifetime. Vol 1ch 42. After the enrollment photo session, a few more days passed, and the day for Neuer's entrance exam was approaching. In just a month, Leon had gone through the key points of the entrance exam questions for the past few years at St. High's Academy with Neuer. Neuer's comprehension was excellent. She could quickly grasp almost everything Leon taught her. In these final days, he planned to let his daughter relax and not stress herself too much, a combination of work and rest. In the evening, Leon was alone in the nursery, having dinner. Rosvitha had been quiet and gentle these days, not bothering Leon unless necessary. Leon had thought that the incident with Long Dali wouldn't be easily forgotten. Surprisingly, all these days had passed, and the dragoness hadn't brought it up once. Perhaps on that night, with the influence of Long Dali, Leon had managed to satisfy Rosvitha, so she hadn't mentioned it again. Leon contemplated this while finishing his dinner. After a brief rest, he resumed the most basic physical training, push-ups, sit-ups and squat jumps. Although he was panting heavily, he felt better than the previous days. The door lock made a sound, and Rosvitha entered the room. She hadn't come for 2 days. Why did she suddenly come tonight? "Hey, exercising," she said. Rosvitha walked over and stood beside him. Taking advantage of the moment when he lay back from a sit-up, she stepped on his chest. Leon ignored her, lying back on the floor, and resumed doing sit-ups. Seeing that Leon was ignoring her, Rosvitha walked up and stood beside him. Taking advantage of the moment when he lay back from a sit-up, she stepped on his chest. Leon glanced at her, then tilted his head slightly, looking at her delicate ankle, and said, "Either move your foot or let me take another bite." "I need to talk to you," Rosvitha moved her foot. "I'm not going," Leon tried to refuse. "Not going, then you better think about the consequences." "I'll go," Leon compromised. Going, enduring an uncomfortable night. Not going, enduring an uncomfortable week at the very least. Leon closed his eyes and gritted his teeth, enduring it until it passed. After that dragoness left, Leon sighed helplessly. He should have known that Rosvitha's vengeful nature was strong. How could the incident with Long Dali just be left in the past? When would this difficult period come to an end? He looked up at the wall clock. 30 minutes. He needed to do something to pass the time. After some thought, Leon decided to take a shower. Rosvitha had mentioned he smelled of sweat earlier and didn't want that dragoness complaining about him. 30 minutes later, Leon finished his shower, changed into fresh clothes, and headed to Rosvitha's room. He arrived at the door of Rosvitha's room and knocked. "Come in, the door isn't locked." Rosvitha's voice immediately came from inside the room. Leon hesitated for a moment, then pushed the door open and entered. If he remembered correctly, this was his first time entering Rosvitha's private room. Upon entering, he took in the layout of the entire living room. It was simple and plain, with no extravagant decorations, following a minimalist style. Walking further inside, he passed by the kitchen, living room and master bedroom. The door to the master bedroom was open, but Rosvitha wasn't inside. Leon's peripheral vision caught sight of the bed in Rosvitha's bedroom. On the bed was the teddy bear he had gotten for her a few days ago when they went to the Sky City. Leon was slightly shocked. He remembered that Rosvitha had clearly stated she wasn't interested in such toys, yet now she placed it by her bedside. "I can't understand what women are thinking," Leon muttered, walking to the living room and sitting on the sofa. The sound of running water came from the bathroom, indicating that Rosvitha was probably taking a shower. This further confirmed Leon's suspicions. "If I don't lose 100 grams tonight, I probably won't be able to get out of this door." Leon took deep breaths repeatedly, trying to relax. After about 10 minutes, the bathroom door opened and Rosvitha walked out. She was wearing a simple strap nightgown, and the dragon pattern on her chest was faintly visible. Her damp silver hair hung over her shoulders, and a faint mist emanated from her evenly toned legs. Risvitha, barefoot, walked past Leon while drying her hair. "You're quite punctual. Oh, you've showered too," she remarked. Leon looked at the line of wet footprints she left on the floor, blinked, and said nothing. Risvitha poured a glass of water and handed it to Leon. "Have some water first, I'll dry my hair," she said. Leon silently took the glass of water and took a sip. After a moment, Risvitha dried her hair and returned to the living room. She stood in front of Leon, hands on her waist. "All right, shall we begin? Where do you want to do it? In the living room or on the balcony?" Leon was shocked. "On the balcony, isn't that a bit inappropriate?" "What's so embarrassing about it? Then let's do it in the living room. It's the same anywhere," she retorted. With that, Risvitha walked around the coffee table and sat beside Leon. Leon took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and reclined on the sofa. In fact, he wanted to punch himself again so that when he opened his eyes, Risvitha would have taken care of it herself. However, after waiting a while, Leon realized nothing had happened. He heard Risvitha said in a soft voice beside him, "What are you doing?" Leon opened his eyes and sat up again. "Ah, you don't need that thing." Risvitha chuckled, looking at Leon with a playful expression. Which one is that?" Leon awkwardly swallowed and was momentarily at a loss for words. Then Risvitha took out a thick set of test papers from under the coffee table. St. High's Academy is very strict in assessing family members and has equipped corresponding test papers for understanding each other better. We should take advantage of these days before school starts to familiarize ourselves. Otherwise, we might be unable to answer during Neuer's entrance assessment. She glanced at Leon, tapping the cover of the test papers with her index finger, and looked at Leon with a satisfied appreciation for his bewildered and embarrassed expression. "Risvitha, you really—" This dragon intentionally tried to make him misunderstand, all for this awkward moment. Risvitha squinted slightly, speaking with a tone of disdain and mockery. "Mr. Casmode, you seem quite frustrated, Tilda, but tonight is not suitable, perhaps another day." Vol 1ch 43. Risvitha didn't mock Leon too much. After all, the immediate priority was to enhance their understanding of each other. Of course, not the level of understanding in bed. St. High's Academy didn't assess that. Regarding the family assessment, the rules are quite simple. Risvitha explained the assessment method to Leon. The Academy will prepare 2 sets of answer sheets, with questions related to each other's habits, personalities, experiences, etc. One person will write answers based on their situation, and the other will fill in the answer sheet. Finally, the answers will be compared, and the higher the score, the more we understand each other. Leon blinked, sprawled on the sofa, flipping through various test questions in his hands. "It sounds like a boring couples compatibility game." "I find it boring too, because I have absolutely no interest in your life experiences, hobbies, or habits," Risvitha replied. "Thank you, same here." Risvitha tossed a pen to Leon, but the family's compatibility is a crucial part of the assessment, and the Academy judges whether family is harmonious based on this. To ensure Neuer's successful enrollment, we must deeply understand each other these days. Leon bit the end of the pen. Is it not somewhat hasty to judge the harmony of a family through compatibility? Risvitha shrugged. The tests prepared by the Academy are not like simple couple quizzes. These questions involve professional psychological knowledge and can accurately analyze your personality flaws. The Academy believes that only families who understand each other's flaws but still live together are truly harmonious. Leon glanced at the test questions in his hand and asked, "So, is the question, what is your partner's favorite color, also considered a psychological test question? How is your brain not rotating? Even basic compatibility tests need to include that." Risvitha covered her face in silent exasperation. Leon nodded, silent for a moment, then asked, "So, what is your favorite color?" "Black," Risvitha blurted out, then quickly asked, "And you?" "Silver," Leon replied. And in the next moment, in unison, "Coincidence." And in the next moment, also in unison, "Darn it." The wronged couple both turned away, automatically skipping this topic. Leon flipped through several more sets of test questions, and indeed found some related to psychology and personality. Psychology wasn't Leon's strong suit, and when it came to dragon psychology, he was even more at a loss. He only knew the psychology of dragons when they were about to die. After all, he was quite skilled at dragon slaying. After studying for a while, the couple, Risvitha, began holding a blank answer sheet and started writing on another piece of paper. After a moment, she handed the answer sheet to Leon, saying, "All right, give it a try. See how many questions related to me you can answer correctly." Leon took the test paper and began trying to answer the questions. The first question, what is a phrase your partner often says? Leon picked up the pen and wrote, "No need to think, of course, it's you idiot." Risvitha silently facepalmed, "You idiot, you don't have to say it out loud." The second question, has your partner ever been particularly disappointed in you about something? Leon furrowed his brow slightly, muttering quietly as he wrote the answer, "Yes." "No," Risvitha suddenly spoke. Leon was shocked, glancing at her. Risvitha hung her eyes, lowering her head to fiddle with the tip of her tail. She knew Leon was looking at her, but she still didn't lift her head, just softly repeating, "I haven't disappointed you in anything, Leon." "Is it because there's no need to be disappointed in me?" Risvitha's tail fiddling paused, then she shook her head, not giving a direct answer. Instead, she said, "It has nothing to do with this question. Continue answering." Leon's thoughts shifted slightly, and he didn't press further. He didn't mutter the answers for the next dozen or so questions, but silently wrote them down. After finishing, he handed the test paper to Risvitha. "How many points?" Leon asked. 45. "You didn't pass," Risvitha said with a serious expression. Leon lowered his head, fingers twisting the pencil, silent for a moment. Then he murmured, "Sorry." "No need to apologize. Who knows, if I took the test, the score might be even lower," Risvitha replied. She handed Leon another test paper and a blank sheet. "Give it a try. Write your answers on the blank sheet." Leon nodded and started writing on the blank sheet. While Leon was writing his answers, Risvitha carefully reviewed the answers he had just written. She noticed that all the questions Leon answered correctly were related to her habits, like catchphrases, preferred hand, and how to position her tail for comfort. Those he got wrong were basically similar to the ones he just answered, like, "Have you ever been disappointed?" These were questions that Leon could only understand if Risvitha spoke them out loud. Leon looked at the table covered with test papers, pondered for a moment, and said, "We've spent too little time together, and our interactions are not normal, so it's unlikely we'll score high in a short time. But there's no other choice. For Noya, let's both make an effort," Risvitha said, her demeanor changing when their daughter was mentioned. Leon knew very well that she also deeply loved their daughters. Before the next round of testing began, Leon couldn't help but ask, "Risvitha, yeah, the question about disappointment just now, was that your real answer?" Risvitha turned her head to look at Leon, met his gaze, and replied with strength and determination, "Yes. But there's no but, Leon. I have no reason to lie to you. Our grievances have nothing to do with disappointment or not." Risvitha paused, realizing that Leon believed in himself and liked to nitpick, so no matter how she explained it, he probably wouldn't believe her. Thinking of this, Risvitha didn't continue with any profound statements. Instead, she joked, "If I were to say there's something that disappoints me more, it would be." She looked at Leon, a smile playing on her lips. "You train your dragon's strength too little. How come you've only trained one?" "I'll consider dragon strength my daily meal from now on. Don't regret it."